Hi, how you doing? This is Sean over at Triclops Sights. Today we're going to do something a little different. And what I mean by different is we're going to shoot our gun, our firearm here, without a front sight. Now the reason for doing this is to demonstrate how this sight integrates with the user a little bit differently than everyone else. What we're engaged in here today is what's known as instinctive shooting or point shooting. Anything of that nature. There's different ways that people qualify it, but basically what it is point and shoot. Now, without using or aligning sights. This is advocated at shorter ranges, 3 yards, 5, 7 yards even. But there's a limit to it, and after that range, the dogma is go ahead and start using your sights. At those ranges, what you're trying to do is just get on target. You're just trying to get a certain amount of rounds to hit your target quickly. Speed is more of the factor that you want to be proficient in. So we're going to do this today. And by the way, I agree with this. Don't necessarily use your front sights or try to align them. So by taking our sights off, that front sight off, obviously this is not a red dot. You actually look through this sight, and we don't have a front sight to align. So when we say that we're doing point shooting today, we really are. We're doing true point and shoot. There's no red dot out here in your vision to center on the target. There's no front sight to align your sights onto a target. We're going to try this, and we're going to do it at different ranges and see what we can do. Now, when we start talking about point shoot or instinctive shooting, once again, whatever nomenclature you want to attach to it, what does it mean to be good at it or proficient at it? Well, let's think about that. What are the parameters? So what we're going to do today is we're going to operate on the parameter of about 11 by 13 inch zone. And when I say that, let's go take a look here. We'll show you what we're talking about. So this is a small silhouette. It's about 11 inches across, about a foot from the shoulder, what would be the shoulder to here. We have the bottom blacked. So putting shots in this area we will consider an effective accuracy. Not necessarily precision accuracy, but effective accuracy. So the parameters that we're going to use here is trying to get on speed fast. Now, how fast you are about drawing your weapon and getting on your target, that may or may not be a little harder to determine. What's more important is being proficient and consistent. With point shooting, a lot of people can hit the target simply by point shooting or hit that effective zone, but they can't do it consistently and with a high percentage. So today we're gonna do this exercise, try to see if we can hit this effective zone at speed and do it at a very high percentage. And we're going to go from 7 yards to 10 to 15, maybe even out to 20. And the reason why we're using these ranges is quite simply because at 7 yards is where most people, the overwhelming majority of people, fail to be proficient and consistent in their point shooting. We will do certain segments here of the video where we go and start and finish at these different ranges and give you an idea of what we can or cannot do with this sight. Okay, we are at 7 yards here, and we're going to shoot on paper. I don't like shooting steel at less than 10 yards. You'll notice that we have actually two paper targets, the brown and then the white, and of course the white is a much smaller scale. It's only about 9 by 11, 9 by 12. So it's a little smaller than the steel target we'll be using later. But that's okay because we're only at 7 yards. And we're starting at 7 yards because that's where the overwhelming majority of people fail at their point shooting. They might be able to hit it once in a while or some of the time, but they can't be consistent. So that's why we're going to start here. Throw our eyes and ears on and let's see what we can do. 1.18. 1.20. 1.15. Okay, let's go take a look at what we did. All right, not too bad. A little more spread than I would prefer, particularly 7 yards, but I didn't do any warm-up, so I'm doing this cold. They're all within the zone. They're all good shots. Let's move over to the steel and start trying at 10 yards. Okay, coming back to the paper target, quick note to give you the idea of scale. On the back side, we have a full-size target. If you'll notice, these are all A-zone shots. A little bit quicker. I must have my Wheaties and Geritol this morning. .11. Let's go see what we did and take a closer look. Okay, we're at 10 yards. Got one almost center. Pretty happy about that. One here a little low, a little left. And we got a little high and right, but we're in this effective zone. We have this effective accuracy, pretty consistent, and the speed is consistent as well. Not too bad. We'll freshen up this target, and we're going to move back to 15 yards. Okay, we're at 15 yards. I'm going to throw my eyes and ears on again and see what we can do. .16. 1.12. 1.11. I'm a little to the right today. I can see it already. You probably can too, but let's go take a look. Oh, we're still without a front sight. Thought I better show you that. Let's go see. Okay, just like I thought, we are a little to the right, but we're in this effective zone. I did get one on the 5-inch disc. My grouping is okay. I'd prefer it to be a little more spread. Obviously there's something going on with my draw, or at least on that series. But overall, pretty proficient, pretty consistent. And this is what we're looking at. And at 15 yards, this is really good because the failure rate for most is 7 yards on point shooting, and 15 is pretty solid. Let's try 20. Okay, we're out to 20 yards. We've freshened up the target with new paint. This is going to absolutely probably be the limit of my capabilities. I'm no competition shooter or gun god guru, but it's 1,000 rounds downrange every week. What I am is an old guy, in case you didn't notice, and I wear the geezer glasses, you know, the magnifiers that you have everywhere. I got them in the shop. I got a dozen of them in the car. So my eyes aren't what they used to be. So even with this sight and the way it works, this is probably as far as I'm going to get proficiently and consistently. Could I maybe go back farther and hit from there? Yeah, but for me, I think this is probably the limit. But that doesn't mean it is for others. All right, not too bad in the 120s, 119s. Let's go forward and take a closer look at where we actually hit. Oh, remember, we're still without a front sight here. Okay. I'm actually pretty happy about this. 20 yards, like I said, is my limit. One a little to the right, slightly low. One a little high, a little left. We got a bit of a flyer here, but we still have effective accuracy. We are still we're still proficient within this effective zone. And we're still pretty consistent with our draw, which is super important. Not bad, I'm pretty happy. Okay, the question here is how is this occurring? How is it that a regular shooter like me is able to do this point and shoot at these extended distances within some legitimate parameters of proficiency and consistency? I am not using a dot to center on my target. I'm not using a front sight to align with my rear sights to center on the target. The answer is this simple. That target, the target ends up being my front sight. That's the unique capability of the Triclops sight, that is my front sight. It is the only sight out there that was literally designed and created to enhance point shooting, point and shoot. And it will do it for just about everybody. So if you're looking to improve your point shooting, not only your proficiency and consistency, but your range at which you can actually do it legitimately, you might want to try something a little bit different, or I should say a lot different. And it's different for a reason. Anyhow, if you have any questions or comments, click on the links below. We'll be more than happy to answer them. Anyhow, thank you. Appreciate your time watching the video.